Hey guys, Vanessa Hunter here, and I have the pleasure today of interviewing Ray Higdon. Ray is an industry icon. He is all over the place on social media. He's got a massive social media presence. He's a best-selling author. He's shared the stage with all kinds of people like Tony Robbins, for example. Anyone recognize that name? Les Brown, Robert Kiyosaki, Eric Worre, all kinds of other mega names in the industry. And it is such a pleasure to be here with you today, Ray, where we're going to talk about social media. I know that you've totally walked the talk in terms of everything that you're talking about here today, including building a massive social media presence. And so I want to dig into this a little bit. Welcome, first of all, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And I want to dig into this a little bit because you're releasing the book or have the book available, Freakishly Effective Social Media for Network Marketing.
Yes.
And I want to first ask you, who is this book for?
Yeah, it's for the person, it's for the network marketer that is wanting to create success on social media, and they may or may not have any experience.
Okay. And so is it also for somebody that has been, that may be hitting some roadblocks on social media right now, that maybe has been on social media? I see a lot of people posting a lot of random things, and then they're like, oh, I post every day, but I'm not getting anywhere with my business.
Yeah, so one of the key words is effective, right?
Okay.
So what is effective to do on social media? There are definitely people out there that have been doing it, I don't want to say wrong, but ineffectively for years maybe. And there's never a bad time to do it the right way and do it in a manner which you get more results. And so, for example, our main group that we teach over the last 3 years, we actually track their performance. They've brought in over 300,000 new customers, 71,000 new reps, and achieved 14,000 rank advances. So
Wow.
we know what we teach in social media works. We've seen it work. We've tracked it. It worked for us, my wife and I too,
Right.
when we became the number one incomers of a network marketing company.
Wow, those are some impressive numbers. That is amazing. So going down that path of effective and people doing things effectively and not effectively, what's the biggest mistake that you see right now people making on social media?
I mean, the biggest mistake is almost always not understanding the position of a prospect. And so, what that translates to and looks like is if you're the network marketer that just posts their company link all day long, or you constantly posting, join my team or buy my product, it means you just don't understand marketing. And most people are going to be turned off by that. Most people don't come to social media, period, to purchase something, and they don't go to your profile to purchase something. And so it's basically repellent marketing. If someone is doing that, most people are going to be like, oh, they're pitching me again. And you leave out all intrigue. There's nothing for me to, why do I need to ask you any questions if you've already told me all the details? You've already given me a link to purchase. And so creating more curiosity, creating more, even mystery around, I need to connect with them to really figure out what it is that they do is a much smarter approach.
So yes, I completely agree with that. And with that, social media, I see a lot of people using social media as a megaphone instead of a conversation starter. And that's kind of what you're saying by the creating curiosity posts and things like that, right?
For sure. You should definitely crave, and something we say in the book, crave, conversations more than conversions in your marketing. So your marketing should be designed in a manner, and just to define, the two, marketing is you doing something you hope an unnamed individual reacts or responds to. Prospecting is you reaching out to an individual. It's a one-on-one kind of communication. That's a little different. I'm not saying to not talk about your company name if you're talking to another person, but in your marketing where you don't know who's seeing it or hearing it, you can't follow up with who sees it or who's interested, then that's where I would be, different. I would seek more conversation, like you're saying.
Right. And I think that is where people don't understand, or they misunderstand the difference between sales and marketing, right? And
Right.
they're two distinct things. But I think people get that mixed up a little bit. So, how much time do you think people need to spend on social media to effectively build a business? I mean, I see people on there, some people that say they spend all day, some people that say they don't have any time, and yet they're building an effective business. So they must be spending some time. What do you think is like the sweet spot in terms of the time you need to spend on any social media platform?
Yeah, I mean, it really goes. What I would suggest is be a manager of activity
Okay.
versus time, because it can be very easy to get sucked into an hour on TikTok, and you haven't done a darn thing to grow your business, but you've seen some really clever videos, right? It's easy to spend. Some people are spending 8 hours on Clubhouse, and if done correctly and you're connecting with speakers and people asking questions and hitting them on the Instagram, then maybe you're using it effectively. And so it's more, I would suggest, activity management. And
Okay.
so I don't think you have to spend some humongous amount of time on social media to as a requirement to be effective, but you do have to do certain things,
Yeah.
creating pieces of marketing, whether it's Instagram Reels or Facebook Live, whatever is your flavor, and also connecting and having conversations with people.
Yeah.
So prospecting and marketing, I would have activity kind of metrics for those two things, and that's going to greatly increase the chances of your success.
Okay. Got
Time is difficult because it's such a big time waster for most people. They say they don't have any time, but they'll waste 3 hours on social media and not
totally.
connect with anyone, not even post anything. There's never a time that makes sense. If you just don't have business goals or making money goals or anything like that, then spend your time however you want. But if the question is how much time do I have to spend to create a successful business, it's really not that much time. If you took an hour, if you had really big goals, an hour a day, you could definitely accomplish all the things that you needed to do. But if you don't have that kind of time, 30 minutes a day if spent correctly, of reaching out to people and connecting with them,
Right.
commenting on other people's stuff, and creating one piece of marketing, you could create a successful business.
That's incredibly helpful, I think, for people to know. And I think there's a lot of overwhelm out there right now with all
Yes.
the different platforms that are out there, and people going, and I get asked, and I'm sure you get asked all the time, what should I do? What should I focus on? And what do you tell people when they ask you that? Which platform?
Yeah. As far as which platform?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really the best platform is the one that you will focus the most on, which is the one that you like the most. The problem with, what works is almost anything will work if you focus enough attention on it. And if you are constantly looking for what works, then you're going to see an article tomorrow that says LinkedIn. And then the
Yeah.
article on Thursday will be, TikTok, and then the article Instagram, right? So you'll just be not providing much value, not making many connections or relationships on any of these things. And so instead, it's like, which one do I really, really like? And I would focus on that one. That doesn't mean you don't post to the other ones. You can, but I would have one that's kind of like my go-to. And I would rather you start getting results from one before you really over expand it into other places.
Ah,
So that would be my take.
good, good. Because I think I see a lot of people dabbling in different
Yes.
places, and I think what you're saying is focus and master something before you start adding other things on.
Yeah, I mean, and whichever one, there are still people building the heck out of Facebook, and I know that with TikTok and Instagram Reels, and those are
Yeah.
very, very hot right now. But there are still people absolutely crushing it because there's humans there.
Yes.
Wherever there are humans, right, then
Yeah.
someone can speak to them in a certain way and get them interested in their product, service, or opportunity. And so it's what is the one that you like the most, and if you're going to pour the most energy into it, that's where you're going to get the best return.
Yeah. That is sage advice. So what do you hope people get out of this book in general?
I heard a great interview with Tim Ferriss many years ago, and they asked him that exact same question. They said, you created the 4 Hour Work Week, the 4 Hour Body, the Tools of Titans, and he's written all kinds of books. And it's like, what do you hope to get out of it? And he
Yeah.
said, adherence. I'm like, hmm. And he says, I hope that someone takes this book and does something with it,
Ah,
changes a set of habits, like actually implements something from the book. And so that's my hope for any book that we come out with.
that is what, that's a great objective. That is fantastic.
Get them to do something, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone has different desires. Like
Yeah.
some people have $1 million desires or higher, and maybe they implement a whole bunch of it. Some people, they want to make a couple $100 a month extra, and so maybe they just take a few things from the book. And
Yeah.
so either way, like I'm super happy if they do that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like we say in network marketing, like don't show up to an event if you don't plan on implementing some of the things you learned, right? So don't bother reading the book if you're not planning on implementing and getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely how I roll. I learn for the sake of execution. I don't learn to learn. I'm not just
Yes.
learning like I'm going to be on Marketing Jeopardy one day. I mean, I learn so that I can execute better.
Right.
And some people are addicted to that learn, and they're just learning and learning and learning. Learn so that you can execute better, and that's the way it's worked for me.
Yeah, fantastic. So that's a great segue into like the leadership, because you've also written a book about leadership, freakishly effective leadership for network marketers. And we've got the two books on screen right now. But what do you say? What do you think? First of all, one of the biggest questions is, how do you know you're a leader? How do you know when you have crossed the bridge and you're actually a leader?
Well, it's actually a deep question, because it's really once, the standard definition would be once people are following you, right? Once people are listening to you and you have influence over them. So that would be the, kind of probably Webster's or whatever. But leader is really when you choose that is part of your persona. When you say that I am a leader, that's when you are a leader and your life starts to actually change. And so that it's a big deal. There's a lot of people, and I've coached some people like this, that maybe they got in at the right time in the right company and things just blew up for them and they weren't really prepared for that. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of them don't actually consider themselves a leader, and they don't have a lot of influence over their team, even though their numbers would say otherwise. Mm-hmm. And so I would say it's when you decide I am a leader and I'm going to use all the power that I have to become a better influencer of the people to help them.
That's a fantastic definition. And going down that path, what do you think are three characteristics of effective leaders?
Yeah, I love what Bob Proctor says. He says that the most leaders are there to get people to buy into them, right? Mm-hmm. The effective leader is the one that's getting them to buy into themselves. And so, like, to believe, a great leader is someone that, when led, you feel better about yourself, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just them selling you on why you should follow them or why they're awesome. It's you believing that you're more awesome than prior to meeting them. And so I would say that desire to help people impact themselves and believe more in themselves. Number two, they're constantly seeking for ways to make things easier for their team. And, Vern Harnish, he's the CEO of Gazelles, and he wrote a book called Scaling Up, which is, it's a great book. It's a little dry, but it's a huge book. It's kind of dry. In it, he said the definition of a leader, the role of a leader. And I just, at first I kind of was like, I don't know. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I actually like that. The role of a leader is to make things easy. And so, like, in thinking about that, like, it made me think differently about our customers and clients and say, how can I make this easier? And that actually led to the formation of this book. The book, the leadership book, is basically what I've taken over 500 6- and 7-figure earners through in a personal coaching kind of scenario. In that, how do I analyze them? How do I help them with their culture? How do I boost their retention? How do I get them, getting more rank advances and feeling less frustration about leading their team? And so the second trait I would say is someone who just seeks to, how do I make things easier for the people that I'm leading? And I would say number three is, someone who's always a student, someone who always knows that there's a better way to do things, and there's always room for improvement. The leader that has already arrived and already has all knowledge necessary is just not going to be that kind of leader to inspire the type of people that you would want in a thriving organization.
So what I'm hearing you say in all three of those things is you kind of have to put ego on the side, right? Put ego on
Absolutely.
the back burner and pour into your team and pour into other people more so than elevating yourself.
Absolutely. There's a lot of people in leadership positions in network marketing that seek control more than production.
Yes.
And so they don't like if someone does it a little differently than and so it's, this network marketing is interesting because it attracts people who really want freedom in their life, and they're willing to, possibly face, social status issues to achieve that freedom. So this is someone that's more of a rebel usually, and more of, someone that, is maybe isn't looking for a boss. And a lot of leaders that I've seen in the past have acted more like bosses than leaders. And that's not the place. Network marketing isn't a place for that.
Right, right. But people don't realize that. And a lot of people, because of the whole be your own boss thing.
Right, right. It didn't say be the boss of others. Your own boss. I agree with that.
Your own boss.
Own boss.
Exactly.
Not
exactly. People need to take that to heart a little bit more.
Right.
All right. Well, Ray, I know we're out of time. I so appreciate you coming here and sharing this. These books are going to be available through Mailbox Power, which is super exciting for all of us here. And congratulations on all of your success, on everything you're doing. You do it with a humble heart, and I really appreciate everything that you do for the industry, and all of us do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys.